I'm Blue Moon.
And I'm Red Moon.
And today we'll be talking about the history and downfall of Liv Dolls.
Now, Liv Dolls is a doll brand that ran between 2009 and 2012 and were created by a Canadian toy company called Spin Master.
Most notably, they were known for their Minecraft merch, their Angry Birds merch, and the fact that they made tech decks.
Spin Master was created in 1994 and were most known for their toys marketed towards boys. Although in the early 2000s, they tried to create a toy marketed towards girls called Key Charm Cuties, which was meant to compete with Mattel's Polly Pocket. And which brand do we know? Like, which brand do we really know? I did not know about, what is it? Key Charm Cuties until researching for this video, so we obviously know that brand
Flopped
really hard.
Yeah.
So Spin Master took a break from making girls' toys up until 2009 with their launch of Liv Dolls.
Originally, when Liv Dolls came out, they stood out from their competition. Here's what made them different. So, of course, Liv Dolls had the basic doll head articulation, shoulders, legs, and knee articulation. Sorry, I thought they were breaking her leg. But they also had elbow articulation, waist articulation, ankle articulation, and wrist articulation. They also went for a more realistic look and had more realistic body proportions. Their knee joints didn't snap, first of all, and actually looked like kneecaps, and they had a visible belly button and visible toes, because when you think about other dolls, you go, oh yeah, they totally had toes. No, they didn't. Bratz dolls don't have toes, Barbies don't have toes, and Mycene dolls barely had toes.
Liv Dolls also had really gorgeous inset glass eyes, which to me look really pretty. If you look really close, you can see a lot of detail in their eyes, but a lot of people online thought they were very creepy because yes, there's a lot going on in their eye that makes them look really pretty, but there's a lot going on. If you stare at them a little too long, they kind of got a glassy-eyed stare of a man with nothing to lose, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're kind of emotionless. But their main gimmick was you can literally snatch their wigs off. Now, sadly, I don't have a Liv doll here with me to show you. You can literally snatch their wigs off, but just picture that. They also had a hole in the top of their head so you can put the wigs on, because the wigs also had like a little peg, so you basically slap the wigs on their head and like shove them into the hole in their head. It was kind of violent. I had one as a kid. You had to like really pound that shit down. But anyways, they came with 2 wigs usually. Sometimes they didn't, or you could buy wigs separately. So that it was supposed to be, you know, very fun for kids. It kind of felt violent to me, but you know. Like you kind of literally scalped them.
I mean, they
although
still have hair underneath.
That's what I was about to say. They still had hair underneath, which I really love because there's not a lot of dolls out there that have really short hair, and they did. Some other cool features about the dolls is that the dolls came with hella accessories. Like, look at this doll. She came with a skateboard, an extra jacket, like a beanie, like knee pads, like even in one set she came with a whole dog. Like, that is so much stuff, and the dolls were still very detailed. Like, they did not sacrifice detail for all the extra accessories. And according to a comment I left on a video 7 years ago, to which I only discovered upon doing research for this video, I said, I love the packaging they came in. They're so different from any other doll box. And you know what? I agree with that. I agree with myself. Their boxes were really pretty. They had like a very blown up high quality picture of the doll on the front of the box. You kind of had to open it like a book to reveal the doll, and it was just so gorgeous. It just felt so bougie to me.
Yeah, it did.
Like, I was like, am I like opening a box with a model inside?
Yeah,
like, that's how it felt.
It did. I know Rainbow High like has started doing that, but it just feels so cool to like open it in a store. It's so fun. All of the dolls also had pierced ears, but sadly they all had the same face mold. Upon opening the doll, you would find a piece of paper with a code on the inside, which would give you access to their online website called Liv World. And I find this very interesting. I had totally forgotten about the website, even though I owned Liv Dolls at the time they came out, because I think it's so weird you had to get a code in order to get access to the website, because like with most websites at the time, like that had toys marketed alongside them, like Webkins, you didn't have to buy Webkin to go on the website. You can go on webkins.com, make an account, and if you wanted like a special pet, then you would have to buy the pet. But with Liv World, they were like, no, you cannot even go on this website unless you buy a Liv doll, which is kind of a little crazy to me, but hey, that's their marketing strategy. The website was still active all the way up until 2014, where it was taken off the internet. I tried using all the links I could find online to get to it, and I'm pretty sure the website has been taken down. And I even tried using the Wayback Machine to get better footage of the website for you, but that didn't even work because, you know, Adobe Flash, which the website ran off, is discontinued, so I couldn't even use that. So you have to deal with this really crusty video I found on YouTube of the website, and just trust me, okay?
It existed.
It existed, it did.
On average, Liv Dolls cost between $15 to $20, and when they first came out in 2009, there was 4 main characters named Alexis, Sophie, Daniela, and Katie. Later, they would add 2 more characters named Hayden and Jake.
Out of the first 4 characters introduced, in all the Wikipedias I read, it only said that 3 of them were the main characters. It was Alexis, Sophie, and Daniela, so they kicked Katie out of the group.
What did she do?
Actually, she had a boyfriend later, and they got jealous. That's spoilers, though.
Spoilers, Jake.
But the first girl was Alexis. She was African American. She was the fashionista of the group, and she had a white dog named Lacey. I remember having this dog as a kid, and it kind of creeped me out.
It did. It had that glassy eye stare, but without the glass eyes.
Yeah.
It just kind of looked soulless. The next main character was Sophie, and she was sort of like the main character, the leader of the group, because her main personality was that she loved doing hair, and the main gimmick of the dolls is that you can switch out their hair, so she was kind of like
the mascot.
Yeah.
She also had her own scooter and had a Shih Tzu named Frizzy and a white rabbit.
The white rabbit just doesn't have a name, I
No,
guess.
it doesn't.
Like, they did not. Okay, so it's really hard to find information on Liv Dolls online. While reading Sophie's article, I found this. Sophie is believed to have worn makeup. What does that mean?
I guess it looks like she's wearing makeup here, but is she? Like,
that's
apparently, I don't know.
A lot of the facts on the Liv Doll websites, like, no one wants to put their names on the facts, so it'd be like, Liv Dolls came out in 2009, I think. Like, that's what half of the facts sounded like, and here is just the prime example of that. Like, she's believed to wear makeup, like what does that mean? What is that? I think that's makeup. That's not her natural face, is it? I mean, I guess if she's a doll, that is her natural face.
That's true,
but
anyways. The next character is Daniela. She was my absolute favorite as a kid. Again, with the weird information though, on all of the like places where I was trying to read her character bio, a lot of them just said that she was considered to be Hispanic. Like, I guess they might have never confirmed it, but that's just so weird. Like, okay.
Just say she is. Like, you know what if just one person says she is and we just all believe it?
Right. That? But we do know that she played the drums and was in a band and had a golden retriever named DJ. She also had a more edgier style, which I really loved as a kid. The next character is Katie, who was one of the 4 main characters introduced, but remember, she wasn't considered a main character because she had less releases. She was my all-time favorite as a kid because she was marketed more of like a tomboy. She had less of a girly style, was more like down to earth, and she did every single sport under the sun, which was skating and biking and hiking maybe. So not every single sport under the sun, but she did a lot of sports. Well, she rode horses because she had a horse named Walnut.
You're right, she had a horse named Walnut, so she did do horse riding, and she had a border collie named Skate with an 8. Skate Infinity's coming with the lawsuit with dolls. You better watch out. And also they made a point to just like in every webisode show how clumsy she was. Yeah. Which is like, she had the most personality out of like all of the characters they introduced. So like, why did they sideline her like that? I don't know. In 2010, they introduced the 5th character, Hayden Price, in the school's outline. I don't know why they gave her a last name and not any of the other characters, but her last name was Price, and they felt like it was important that we knew that. They just wanted to mess around, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. But she was an eco-friendly animal lover. She had a horse named Clover and a bunch of unnamed pets. She had hazel eyes and blonde curly hair, which made her look so similar to Sophie. As a kid, I always got them confused. So confused. I don't know why they felt the need to introduce another white blonde character when there was only like 4 other characters to begin with. They like did not branch out at all into like different ethnicities, even different hairstyles. Like right, with like a whole thing about like their whole thing was about changing wigs. Like, why couldn't they do like different types of hair? Like, but that could get into a little bit crazy water if you want to like give like Alexis a culturally appropriate hair, and then you could switch it out and give it to a white character. Like, I guess, I could see that. Maybe that's why they made them racially ambiguous. That's true. In 2010, they introduced their last character named Jake in the Making Waves set, and that's a Jake. That's a Jake. Like, I know they're going for a more realistic look, but a lot of the dolls just look so boring, and Jake is no exception to that. Like, if you Google Jake on Google, like, he's gonna come up like, yep, that's a Jake. He's so boring looking. I'm sorry, Jake, but it's true. And also, I'm so upset. I did not know this because I never owned a Jake doll, but he has rooted hair. He does not have a wig, so you can't change his hair out with any of the other girls. Like, that's so upsetting. Like, why not? Like, I want to give Jake Daniela's wig. They were scared. They were scared, and they didn't do it. I'm so upset by that. That could have been revolutionary. I think he only had like 2 dolls too, but still. Like, but still.
Do you wear wigs?
No, I do not.
Have you worn wigs?
No, I have not.
Will you wear wigs?
Maybe.
When will you wear wigs?
He had the same articulation as them, which is a good thing. I'm glad they didn't cut out the articulation for him.
Right.
And he was a lifeguard who dated Katie, as we mentioned 100 times before this part. And weirdly, when watching the webisodes, all of the Liv dolls liked Jake.
Like,
which is like,
all of them.
but he was dating Katie, so like, why would, like,
That's weird. That's weird.
that's weird.
Now we'll briefly go over all of the lines Liv Doll released in their 3-year run, which is actually a lot. From my counting, they released roughly 13 different lines. Of course, in 2009, they released the first wave of the 4 main girls, and then they released them with their dogs, but that line did not have a name for some reason. And then they released It's My Nature line, which introduced furniture, a house, and a horse.
And then they released a Target exclusive line called Moonlight Dance, and then following that they released the Schools Outline, which introduced Hayden, a drum set, a bike ramp, some scooters, and the adoption center and fashion store.
Later, they released Live in Wonderland, which was actually really cute, and one of the lines that really stood out to me upon revisiting Liv Dolls.
Because they actually had personality in their outfits. Like, they didn't seem too plain. At least it's my opinion. You can have yours, but they look so freaking cute.
yeah, all of them are really cute. And then they came out with the Making Waves line, which introduced our boy Jake.
the lady killer.
And then in 2011, they partnered with McDonald's and had McDonald's toys, which was interesting.
Which I've never seen before.
No.
And then following the McDonald's collab, they released a spa makeover line, which introduced color-changing makeup and hair, which is super cool because they expanded on the hair gimmick they had going.
And then they continued to expand on it with their styling heads. I've never seen these before until I did research for this video.
They were super cool, and the best part about them, which made me laugh when I first saw this commercial, is that you can snatch the wigs off of the styling heads and wear them yourself.
Like, that is so cool. I feel like that, like, yeah, kids always have, like, this, at least speaking from personal experience, like, kids have this need to, like, cut their own hair, like, when they're little.
A need, not a want.
Yeah, a need to cut their own hair, like, when they're little with scissors. So, like, I feel like that, like, quells that impulsive desire, you know?
Making wigs for kids.
That they can cut and then put on their hair. Like, it kind of, like, it takes out that impulsive thought.
Yeah,
you know?
it prevents hair
revolutionary.
disasters,
Yeah.
and we need to make more wigs for kids.
Yes.
Anyways.
Later, they came out with the Twist and Dance line, which included the gimmick that you can move their legs up and down to make it look like they're shaking their hips. And from my research, this line was supposed to include a Jake, but he never made it into production. Damn it. Okay.
No, keep going. Which is a crime.
A crime,
because
because look at this doll. This is a prototype doll. He never made it into production.
he's kind of ugly, but I want to see Jake dance.
Yeah.
He has no personality. Like, we need. Actually,
Like,
he kind of has
no,
more
they were
personality.
too scared. They're too scared to give him wigs that they could change. Like, I feel like they were scared to give him long hair, and they're scared to make him move his hips. Like, they were scared.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We're making a conspiracy.
Hayden also later got her own house, which is
Sick.
cool.
I don't know if she lived with her parents because they're supposed to be like teenagers, but
Right.
good for her.
But
House
she has a
owner.
house.
House owner at like, I don't know, 15.
Like, meet me at 21.
Sadly, Twist and Dance was one of their last good lines, as Girls Getaway came out last, and I guess due to low sales, they stopped releasing the lines everywhere, and Girls Getaway was only released in Japan and the Philippines for some reason. And then after that, the brand kept going downhill, and they released the line Live Brights, or Brits, I don't really know
Live
how
Brights.
Live Brights, my bad. Live Brights, where they got rid of their joints for some reason, which was the whole point of why the dolls were good. Why would they do that?
Yeah, I don't know, but at least the dolls were colorful to distract you from that. They were like, look, shapes and colors.
Don't notice we cut out some of the quality.
Yeah.
And then after that, they went for 2 more lines and went for the Live for Color line, which also was just a colorful line with no joints. They tried that twice. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And then they went with the Sleepover line, which they tried one last gimmick to revive the brand, which was having their eyes open and close. I tried finding a video of how that mechanism worked and I couldn't find it. I'll put one up on screen if I do, but I think it might be like American Girl dolls where if you lay them down, their eyes close, which
Maybe.
is kind of cool.
They had, they also had press motion arms where they had like a button, I assume on their back, where their arms would move to make it look like they're pillow fighting, which is cute, you know.
Cute, but that's not gonna revive all the articulation you took away.
No. Now we're gonna be talking about their webisodes, which released on their YouTube channel and on their website, and they were all extremely short actually. They were all barely a minute long, which means they barely had a plot.
They had no plot at all, and if you compare them to other doll webisodes that were coming out around the time, like Monster High webisodes were like 5 minutes each and had a cohesive storyline all throughout, like character arcs and stuff. Liv Dolls at Webisodes would end on horrible cliffhangers. When I was doing research for this part of the video, I was so frustrated clicking through the Webisodes, and it would end like Katie trips, and they're like, oh no, will we ever make it to the ball? And it just cuts. And then I was so frustrated watching these until I read the description of one of the Webisodes, and basically they made these Webisodes so short and left them on cliffhangers because they wanted you to go to their website and read their diaries, which I'm assuming had the rest of the story in it.
But like, I don't know, that's like a weird thing to do.
Like as a kid, I watched a few of their Webisodes and I never read the diaries.
No, like I didn't know that existed.
I was more like, oh.
I was like, okay, anyways. But literally watch this episode and just pay attention to how weird it ends.
And look at the animation, it's
it's weird.
Sophie, the necklaces you made saved the day. The ones I ordered still haven't arrived.
No prob. Love the chance to sell them. Daniela, your band sounded great. It was all awesome. Too bad Katie missed it. How much for these shades?
Katie, you made it.
I got Jared to cover for me, so ring me up.
You guys are not only my best friends, you're my best customers.
Whoa, what is that? That is so hard on the ears. I must have grabbed my mom's phone by accident. She's probably calling to find it. Mom? No, this is her daughter. Her interview is pushed up by 2 days? What interview? My mom is up for a new teaching job, and it's not in Bloomfield.
As you can tell, the animation style is very weird. They later moved on to 3D animation later in the Dolls line, but the first few Webisodes are so strange looking. I think it's like they took pictures of the dolls and their clothes and their wigs and just like put them together on some
like they rigged them to make it look like they were like
moving. Like that is a style of animation, but they just did it so strangely. Like if you look at their lip movements really close, you can tell it's just a bunch of pictures put together, which could look cool, but the way they do it just looks so weird and
like
it's so off.
They didn't stylize it at all. It just looks creepy in a way.
It looks unsettling. And a lot of the zoom-ins they do throughout the episode, like look at this one.
When they play the opening notes to a fortune cookie song.
Why did they do that?
Why did they zoom in like that? I don't know. And they also used a lot of clunky 3D models, like in this webisode. Their dogs are randomly 3D and it threw me for a loop the first time. The first time I saw it, I was like, because nothing else was 3D but the dogs. Like, it would be different if the backgrounds were 3D. They weren't. Their photos, too. It was weird. We then put, like, the Liv Dolls on a 2D plane, and then somehow the dogs were living on a three-dimensional plane, which then creates some weird questions in my head. Like, so can the Liv Dolls, like, interact with different universes? Like, different planes of existence? I don't know. I'm being a little intense about that, but it's so strange. And then randomly throughout the webisodes, they would mention other characters that were never introduced in, like, the doll lines.
Yeah, they'd, like, never show them. They're just mysterious figures. Like, they mentioned in Jared.
He's coming over. What do I do? Hi, Jared.
And who else did they mention?
Beth. They like hated this girl named Beth, and we never saw her.
Like they could have made her like a villain doll or something like that. Would be cool.
They never did. They'd be like, "Oh my God, there's Beth over there," and they would never show you her.
Like where is she? We don't know.
OMG! You're not gonna believe this. Look over there. It's Beth in our dress.
Everyone, can I have your attention?
Maybe they're hallucinating. They're living in a different plane of reality, and Beth is like 4D, and they can't see her. Yeah. Conspiracy.
I believe that. The acting was also very bad.
The voice
acting was not good at all. Like I was like, oh, that is so bad.
Like I like
it's noticeable.
Yeah, I like their voices, but the acting part like was not good.
There must be hundreds of people lining up out there. My bandmates are gonna kill me. What am I gonna do?
You're gonna perform, and you're gonna be great.
Okay, I can do this. Wait, where are they?
Also, while watching some of the webisodes, we noticed like a lot of the times when they're talking to each other, their eye lines didn't match. Like in this episode, like Katie is looking at Jake, and she's like looking down at his stupid shirt. Like I know his shirt is stupid, but his eyes are up there.
His eyes are up here,
yeah.
Katie. Like I know he's your boyfriend, but look him in the eyes.
Yeah. Later in 2011, they moved on from their weird like Photoshoppy photo animation to doing 3D animation, which was not safe from the weirdness of the 2D animation style. So we're gonna go over some of the weirdest stuff we caught while rewatching some of the webisodes. This one, who was it? Sophie was speaking, but her mouth was not moving at all. She just looked back and forth. Or like maybe if she moves her head, like they'll be distracted.
Whoa,
What just happened?
Like,
that was the most replayed part of the video. They were not distracting.
No.
Like, nobody was distracted.
Everyone was like, wait, did you just talk without moving your mouth?
Yeah.
And which is funny, the whole episode is called Haunted Sleepover, so I started suspecting like something's up with Sophie.
Like she's possessed, like what's wrong? Like I feel like she was possessed or was haunted. Like that was the creepiest thing about the episode. Actually, I lied. The creepiest thing about the episode was this.
Come out, wherever you are.
Or whatever you are. Ah! I think I found your ghost.
The realistic cats, why? That made my jaw drop to the floor.
Like, that was one of the first webisodes I watched while doing research for this video.
I was stunned.
I jumped out of my seat.
Silence.
I was like, the biggest plot twist I've seen in media. I was not expecting the realistic cats. But maybe they were ahead of their time, because that kind of style of adding realistic elements to like a 2D/3D show is reminding me a lot of The Amazing World of Gumball.
Yeah, it is.
So, actually, they're pioneers. I'll stop dragging them.
Unfortunately, like we mentioned in the beginning, in 2012, these dolls were discontinued because of low sales, but there's no actual confirmed reason as to why the sales were so low. So today we're going to share with you some theories as to why that they might have gotten low sales.
Like some theories the community has and some theories that I have of why they may have stopped making the dolls.
Yeah.
And I really love the dolls. I know we've been dragging them a lot during this video, but I was really sad when they got discontinued because they're generally like really pretty and they're super cool.
Yeah, and they were like revolutionary for their time.
They were, but I think one of the main reasons they got discontinued was because they took away the one aspect that made them revolutionary with their later lines, which was taking away their amazing articulation, which I think probably contributed to the downfall, although they may have been already falling before they took away the articulation because they probably did that to save money.
That's true.
Because of their sales. So what else was preventing them from making sales before that? We got a few theories.
The first theory we have, which we kind of mentioned earlier, is the fact that Liv dolls were not very diverse. So you can basically just buy 2 dolls and you'd basically have them all because you can switch out their outfits and their wigs.
So then, like, the only thing different about them, if you were to get 2 dolls, switch out their wigs, would be, like, slightly different eye color and slightly different makeup color. So you could have all the dolls by just buying 2, which probably didn't keep buyers interested in rebuying the dolls. Like, compare them to Monster High. Monster High has a gimmick that makes you want to buy every single doll that comes out.
Like, don't you want a zombie doll? Like, don't you want a doll with wings or a tail?
Like with
they
Liv
all
dolls,
had a different gimmick.
Yeah, Liv dolls were just like, you can buy 1 doll and just switch out her wigs and clothes forever, which didn't keep you buying more.
Yeah.
Also, we said they're very different from a lot of doll lines at the time, but Moxie Girls came out in the same year as them, and they just looked visually very similar, so they had to compete with Moxie Girls directly. And you probably know Moxie Girls over Liv Dolls.
Yeah. And then later in 2010, Liv Dolls had to compete with Monster High, which definitely did not help them at all because Monster High obviously is a very standout brand and is very popular.
So that definitely probably led to their downfall a little bit.
Like as a kid, if you had to choose between a Liv doll and a Monster High doll, which one are you gonna go for? The Monster High doll.
And right now, I have no Liv dolls and I have a ton of Monster High dolls because Monster High dolls are just more fun and memorable in my opinion.
Yes.
Also, while doing research for this video, I found a bunch of old reviews of the dolls from the year they came out, and a lot of people commenting on blogs and such at the time did not like their outfits and thought they just looked very outdated, like even at the time they came out. So it definitely contributed to low sales. A lot of their outfits were very like early Disney, like Disney Star-esque.
It reminds me very Disney Channel.
Like early Hannah Montana. Like some of the outfits were cute, but
like they were meant to be realistic, but they also weren't because the styles did not reflect what people were wearing at the time.
No. I also found one comment of someone theorizing that they might have been discontinued because the plastic they were made out of was kind of dangerous for kids. I'm not sure what type of plastic they were made out of, but the commenter was kind of saying when they broke, they kind of broke into really sharp pieces, which might have been dangerous. I'm not really sure about that one, but I just wanted to mention it.
I also saw some theories floating around as to why they were discontinued, and a lot of people were theorizing that they were discontinued because in a lot of promotional images, if you haven't noticed already, their joints were photoshopped out.
Which is like why would they do that?
Yeah.
I guess they're trying to give them a more realistic like look.
But when parents would look at like catalogs and like ads, they would think, oh, the doll doesn't have articulation isn't worth my time, you know? Like, why would they do that? That is so weird to me. Like they advertise so heavily on the boxes, like, oh, they can move, they have 150 poses, but yet they photoshopped out the articulation.
Like they showed their poses, but like when you're looking at it, you're like, how'd they get in that pose?
Right, like you don't know. Speaking of horrible Photoshop, I saw this photo that promoted their spa makeover line, and why did they Photoshop the doll's eyes to look at each other?
Like that's so, like they did so much unnecessary Photoshop for no reason. And if I saw that ad, I'd be like, ooh.
And they were creepily smiling at each other too. Like they Photoshopped their mouths to be like upwards, and that's not how the dolls came at all.
So it's like they were
weird.
kind of like lying. Like, and there was no like dolls do not look like this under the pictures. They just were photoshopped like that. It's so weird. Their marketing was just like a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Their ads did slap, but that's about all they had in terms of marketing.
Like listen to the song.
The Liv girls have a flair for hair. With the most wigs and the most styles and colors to choose from.
And I liked like the contrast of like the dolls being outside and then you being outside. Like that was good. But why were they photoshopping them? I don't know.
Weird.
Like why are you gonna market?
Oh my god. What? Hello, I'm really close. Oh.
Like they're trying to market the doll line as being like realistic girls who went outside and did adventures, but then they photoshopped them.
Yeah.
That just feels like a crime to me.
It does.
Like, look, they're so realistic. Let me get on Photoshop real quick.
My face to them. Like, no.
Why would they do that?
Here's some of our theories on why they may have been discontinued, and some of our opinions on just the dolls in general. Even though we have been saying our opinions throughout the whole video, here's some more of our opinions.
Yeah, we didn't find any other online sources to back us up. This is purely my opinion right here. So first, the dolls were marketed towards like tweens, which I found so strange because I was into them when I was 9.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really count as a tween.
I mean, we commented on that one video when we were 13, and does that count as a tween? Like, does 13 count as a tween?
I don't know, but they were trying to market the dolls towards older girls, but the webisodes were so like baseline and had no real like plot or story. And when the dolls like were having like or the characters were having like fights and stuff in the webisodes, they were so like minuscule, and like if you're trying to market them towards like more mature audiences, the stories that they're telling in the webisodes were like not very mature, besides throwing around like they have a boyfriend.
Right.
That was really it. They were like, oh no, Katie fell. Like they were so like immature.
Childish,
for
like,
their market.
When Monster High's like target age demographic was like 8 to 14, and like they covered so many more topics and like went into so many more like deep plots
than Liv Dolls ever did. Like Liv Dolls are just very face value.
Yeah.
Like, and that did not help that they were trying to market them towards tweens. I feel like they should have went for a younger demographic. I cannot speak.
I feel like what made me like them as a kid was like the fact that they feel like dolls you can bring outside with you and just like roughhouse with them all day. Like they came with so many accessories that you can play with. I feel like little kids are more of the type to play with like all the accessories outside or something.
I was not their prime demographic when they were released. Like I was 9 when I first got them and was obsessed with them. And like I would take them outside and have like Katie doing tricks on her board and stuff. And as I got older, they more felt like figures and not dolls. Like they're really pretty to pose, and I'd pose them on my shelf and stuff, but that was it, because when you're older you're not going to take them out in roughhouse
and like use all their accessories,
which I feel like is what they were made for. So I definitely feel like they should have been marketed towards a younger demographic, but that's just our opinion. I know we said this in the beginning of the video, but Liv Dolls did not have great diversity at all. Like why did they introduce Hayden when there was already basically a doll that like looked exactly like her? I feel like they should have added more diversity in the brand. And even like Alexis is supposed to be their African American doll, and she's really gorgeous, but I feel like they missed the opportunity to make her skin look darker, to make her look way more different than the other dolls they already had, or at least introduce a character that had darker skin, or even like an Asian character, like literally anyone but like 3 white girls, please.
Well, I mean, technically, Danielle was supposed to be Hispanic, but
no, but 3 white girls: Sophie, Katie, Alexis.
Oh, duh. No. Not like
not
Sophie, Katie, and Hayden.
They're
Forgot about Hayden. She looks so similar to all the other dolls.
Sorry, my bad.
And I feel like also bouncing off of that, you kind of forget about some of the dolls sometimes, because it felt like they had hobbies and not actual personalities. Like we mentioned earlier, Katie seemed to have like the most personality out of all the other dolls.
Like they like Daniela was always talking about, oh, I have to go to my band, play the drums, but that's all you knew about her.
For example, a Monster High, like all the characters had character flaws, and they all had like arguments with each other and like dynamics with each other.
That
like
made
it feels like all the dolls were so similar. Like watching the webisodes, they all acted so similar.
I hope it's okay. I invited this cool new girl to meet us for lunch. You're going to love her. She's got the most styling blonde hair. I have a friend coming too. The new girl I met at the park. She's into yoga and helping animals. Guys, I invited someone too. Totally into Save the Earth. like me.
I invited that girl I met at Mocha Java. She totally helped me chillax when I was way upset about Beth.
Hey, there's my friend! Hayden! Do I need a new set of glasses, or do we all have the same new BFF?
And like I said earlier, I have a ton of Monster High dolls because due to them having personalities and character arcs, I still feel attached to them to this day. Unlike Liv Dolls, who I don't feel attached to. I got rid of them even if they're really pretty well-made dolls.
This is a very minor thing, but when we used to have the dolls, we'd like try putting their hair up in styles or like just putting their hair up in a simple ponytail, and like you could see the back of the wig cap because they had wigs on.
And the wig caps were super thick, so if you pulled up the ponytail, you could see like the line of the wig cap in the back, which kind of like made playing with them and styling their hair like a little less fun.
Yeah, like broke the illusion.
Like even though you could change out the wigs, you don't want to know they're wearing a wig.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know. That's just me.
Although we were just trash talking Liv Dolls for the entire video,
we love Liv Dolls, and they're honestly a really great part of developing dolls in the future. You can still see a lot of elements from Liv Dolls in dolls today.
Like they left an impact.
They did. Such as Rainbow High Dolls. Rainbow High Dolls kept the element of having like realistic looking knees, which is really cool. And Rainbow High Dolls have inset eyes. I'm not sure if they're glass, but they do have the inset eye.
I think they're paper.
They're paper?
Yes.
But they have plastic on the front.
Yeah, they're plastic but with paper behind the eyes.
Well, what are Liv Dolls?
I don't know. I think they're just glass, but they're still inset eyes because they're inset into the head, but it's just a different style of inset eyes.
But these wouldn't exist without Liv Dolls. Look at their knees.
Wait, look at their kneecaps.
Look,
That's
they
so
have
cute.
realistic kneecaps and inset eyes.
Beautiful. After Liv Dolls were canceled, Snap Stars and MC Square Dolls came out, and they look strikingly similar to Liv Dolls, so I feel like they definitely had an influence on those doll lines as well.
Snap Stars don't kind of look similar. Moxie Girls have inset eyes, and Snap Stars took the gimmick that Liv Dolls had as their main strategy of removable wigs, which I think is super cool.
Yeah.
So you can still see elements of Liv Dolls and other dolls today, such as Made to Move Barbies.
Yeah.
Made to Move Barbies obviously took their second gimmick of having a lot of points of articulation. I know a lot of people in the doll community love Made to Move Barbies and will literally buy the Barbies for their bodies to do head swaps and stuff. And I wish people did that more with Liv Dolls. I know it's harder to get Liv Dolls because they're like more limited, but
I saw a Liv Doll at the thrift store the other day, so they pop up.
Yeah, so keep an eye out. If you instead of buying a Made to Move Barbie, buy a Liv Doll.
Yeah. Overall, we think Liv Dolls were way ahead of their time, and if they came out now, they'd really only have to make a few minor changes in order to be successful.
I really hope they make a comeback one day, but as of now, that is the history of Liv Dolls. We're so sad to be ending this video. I know it might be a little short, but they're only a 3-year-long doll brand, and there's not a lot of history out there, so I guess it's time to end this video. I'm sorry guys, if you love Liv Dolls, make sure to drop your favorite Liv Doll down in the comments below. Personally, mine was Katie.
Mine was Danielle.
I kind of like Jake now, even though I never owned Jake. He's kind of interesting.
Yeah, he is interesting.
Someone needs to make a custom Jake with like a removable wig and like dancing, please.
I feel like they're really scared. They'd be like, oh, like people would think he's gay, so they didn't do it. Like I 100% believe that was the reasoning.
If they make a comeback, they better make Jake with a removable wig.
Like,
Monster High did that. They had Mansters with removable wigs.
Come on.
Like, Liv Dolls, make a comeback and do not be afraid.
Please.
Thank you. Okay.
Anyways,
now it's time to end this video.
If you like us, make sure to check out our 2 TikToks, our Instagram, our Redbubble, our Depop, and our Mercari, where we sell dolls on there all the time. Like this My Scene doll girly we showed in the beginning of the video. And she's a first wave Chelsea.
This Bratz doll. Sadly, we don't have any Liv Dolls to sell. We already sold them. Sorry. So we're selling these 2, so check that out if you're interested. And just remember to dream is to expand your imagination and to create your reality. Anything's possible and things don't have to make sense. See you in our next video.